Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bhakti Fundamentals. Today, we discuss the importance of prioritizing spiritual pursuits, even as we go about our very busy daily lives. Most of us spend a great deal of time pursuing material goals, and there is certainly nothing wrong with being responsible and thoughtful in our material life. However, when we focus exclusively on the material side of life, then we overlook the very purpose of life itself, which is spiritual in nature. If we think about it, most of us spend a surprising amount of our lives planning. We plan vacations months in advance, we save for retirement decades in advance, we research neighborhoods before moving, compare insurance plans, read reviews before making purchases, and think carefully about our career path. In many ways, modern life is one long exercise in planning, and often for good reason. We understand that today's decisions affect tomorrow's material outcomes. We know that neglecting important things like our finances and bodily health usually creates problems later down the road for us. To think ahead and act responsibly is generally considered a sign of intelligence. Yet there is an interesting question we sometimes neglect or postpone asking. And that question is, while we are making progress materially, are we also making progress spiritually? In other words, while we spend so much time arranging the external circumstances of our lives, are we giving equal attention to the person who is actually experiencing life? Are we caring only for our body, or are we also caring for our actual self, the actual us, the spirit soul within our body? This question lies at the heart of spiritual life. We learn from the Bhagavad-gītā that we are not our material bodies or minds. Our material bodies change continuously, from our childhood throughout our youth and into adulthood and eventual old age. Yet throughout all those changes, we, the self, or soul, or atma in Sanskrit, still experience ourselves to be the same person. Our body has changed. Our thoughts have changed. Our interests have changed. But the conscious observer, the actual us or soul within our body, remains the same. And once we understand this, a new question naturally arises. Since I care for and maintain my body every day by bathing, feeding, dressing, exercising it, etc., why not nourish my actual self, the soul situated within my body? Śrīla Prabhupāda often addressed this topic with the example of a bird living within a cage. A thoughtful owner naturally keeps his bird's cage clean and repairs it when necessary. But suppose he becomes so absorbed in polishing the cage, decorating it, and showing it to others that he forgets to feed the bird inside. The cage may become more beautiful every day, but the bird gradually becomes weaker and weaker. Śrīla Prabhupāda explains that this is the mistake of modern life. We have become very expert at caring for the body and mind, but we most often neglect our actual self, the actual living being within our body. As Śrīla Prabhupāda writes, without knowing the need of the dormant soul, one cannot be happy simply with emolument or returns, results, or profit of the body and mind. The body and the mind are but superfluous outer coverings of the spirit soul. The spirit soul's needs must be fulfilled. Simply by cleansing the cage of the bird, one does not satisfy the bird. One must actually know the needs of the bird himself. Simple as it may seem, Śrīla Prabhupāda makes a profound observation in this Bhagavatam purport of his. We spend a lot of time and energy caring for our body and mind. We exercise, eat carefully, pursue education, build our careers, purchase homes, maintain our relationships, etc. Yet, if we do not understand the needs of the soul, our true self, we will always feel like something is missing in our life. Why? Because we, the soul inside our body, cannot be nourished by material achievements and pursuits any more than a hungry bird can be nourished by a polished cage. This raises an important question. If the soul, we, cannot be nourished by material pursuits, then what does nourish us, the soul within our body? Śrīla Prabhupāda answers this question in the same Bhagavatam purport. He explains, the need of the spirit soul is that he wants to get out of the limited sphere of material bondage and fulfill his desire for complete freedom. That complete freedom is achieved when he meets the complete spirit, the personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇa. There is a dormant affection for God, Kṛṣṇa, within everyone. Spiritual existence is manifested through the gross body and mind in the form of perverted affection for gross and subtle matter. Therefore, we have to engage ourselves in occupational engagements that will evoke our divine consciousness. In this excerpt, Śrīla Prabhupāda explains that every one of us has an innate personal relationship with the Supreme, Kṛṣṇa. Along with that relationship comes a natural affection for the Supreme. However, due to our long sojourn in this material world, the many lifetimes we have spent in this world, we have forgotten our eternal relationship with Kṛṣṇa. It has become covered over by our material consciousness. In our forgetful state, we tend to redirect our original loving propensity for Kṛṣṇa toward temporary material experiences and pursuits. And while our material activities may provide us with some temporary happiness, they cannot fully satisfy us because matter cannot satisfy spirit. Only spirit, spiritual activities in harmony with our relationship with the Supreme, can fully satisfy spirit, us. A simple example helps to illustrate this point. Imagine watering the leaves of a tree while neglecting its root. The leaves will eventually wilt, as they can only be truly nourished when the root is nourished. Similarly, because we are spiritual beings, lasting satisfaction comes only when we reconnect with the source of our existence, the Supreme Absolute Truth, or Kṛṣṇa. The good news is that nourishing our actual self, the soul, us, does not require abandoning our daily responsibilities. In Bhakti Yoga, we do not subtract from our lives. Rather, we add the missing piece. We learn how to add Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme, the source of all that be, to our lives. Some people think that spiritual life requires leaving behind our family or career, hobbies, and ordinary responsibilities. However, in the Gita, we learn that spiritual life is not meant to be separate from our daily life. Instead, we are meant to spiritualize the activities that we are already performing by connecting them to Kṛṣṇa. Practically speaking, this means that nearly every aspect of our life can become part of our spiritual practice. We can spiritualize our family life by helping one another grow spiritually. We can spiritualize our work by offering the results of our efforts to Kṛṣṇa and by remembering that our talents and abilities are gifts from Him. We can spiritualize our hobbies and interests by using them in Kṛṣṇa's service whenever possible. For example, if we enjoy singing, we can start singing Kirtan, the Maha Mantra set to music. If we enjoy playing musical instruments, we can play our instrument of choice in our Kirtans. If we like gardening, we can pick some of the flowers in our garden to place on our home altar. If we like cooking, we can learn how to cook interesting vegetarian dishes that we then lovingly offer to Kṛṣṇa. Of course, Bhakti Yoga also includes specific spiritual practices that we add to our life, such as chanting the Maha Mantra, studying Krishna's teachings in the Bhagavad-gītā, and associating with like-minded spiritualists. However, one of the points of today's session is to show that the practices of Bhakti Yoga extends into every aspect of our lives. It is a philosophy. It is a way of life. For instance, you'll find that in Bhakti Yoga, we offer our daily activities to Kṛṣṇa, no matter how small they may be. And we offer our vegetarian meals to Kṛṣṇa before eating them ourselves. We also try to remember Kṛṣṇa throughout our day. Even simple things such as having paintings of Kṛṣṇa in our home, listening to kirtans on YouTube, or keeping the Gita nearby can help keep our consciousness focused on Kṛṣṇa, even as we work or clean our house, etc. And the purpose of all of this is to purify our consciousness. Every action that we spiritualize serves to clear away a little more of our material consciousness, replacing it with spiritual consciousness. In this way, spiritual life is not confined to a particular hour of the day or a particular place of worship. Rather, it becomes woven throughout our entire life. Gradually, our thoughts, activities, relationships, possessions, and responsibilities become connected to Kṛṣṇa and transformed by that connection. Instead of seeing life as divided into material and spiritual categories, we begin to see how our ordinary material-seeming activities can become spiritualized when they are performed in relationship with the Supreme. As we conclude today, let us return to the question we began with. While we progress materially, are we also progressing spiritually? Most of us would never forget to feed our body for a day. We would never intentionally neglect our health, finances, or responsibilities. Yet, how often do we nourish the soul, us, through hearing about Kṛṣṇa, chanting his names, and actively cultivating our relationship with him? Śrīla Prabhupāda's bird in the cage analogy reminds us that true success is not simply maintaining the cage. Real success means caring for the bird, the soul within, as well. When we give proper attention to both our material responsibilities and our spiritual development, our life becomes complete. And what we gradually discover through the practice of Bhakti Yoga is that spiritual life is not meant to compete with the rest of our life. Rather, it is meant to illuminate it. As our Kṛṣṇa consciousness grows, we begin to see our family, work, talents, relationships, belongings, and our daily responsibilities in connection with Kṛṣṇa. Gradually, the distinction between material life and spiritual life disappears. Our work becomes service to the Supreme. Our home becomes the main place of our spiritual practice. Our talents become ways in which we can create beautiful offerings for Kṛṣṇa. In this way, we no longer live one life for ourselves and another life for the Supreme. Rather, our entire life becomes an offering to Kṛṣṇa. So why not add Kṛṣṇa to your life and make it perfect? Everything material, our body, possessions, accomplishments, family members, etc., will eventually be left behind. Do yourself a favor and make an investment with a perfect, unending return, a spiritual investment. Add Kṛṣṇa to your life. Nourish the soul, the actual you within your body, and make your life truly complete. So that's all we have for today on the topic of setting ourselves up in spiritual life and not neglecting our spiritual life, since one day, at the time of death for our body, we have to leave everything material behind. Please let us know what you thought of this most recent session, and if you have any questions that we might answer in a follow-up one. In the meantime, thank you for listening today, and we'll see you next time on Bhakti Fundamentals.